Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Just a day after Raila Odinga was heckled in the county of Kisii, the ODM leader visited Kiambu County to attend a burial ceremony of a long-term friend. And in a sign of U-turn, a man worried of the restless population and what signals unpopularity, Odinga is making an explanation as to what exactly is it in a very strategic attempt to disassociate with President Ruto. So in this podcast, we are going to explain why Raila is changing tone on Ruto deal. I know there was an attempt at the signing to say this does not anchor formation of a coalition party. But I want to say this. Whatever Ruto and Raila signed in Bomas, signed in the KICC, it's only them who know. Without much ado, let's take a minute and listen to Raila. And I want you to pay attention to his messaging, the message that he wants the country to get to understand.
Sasa watu wengi wanapiga kelele hapa na pale, oh Raila ameenda kwa Ruto, ametuacha. Mimi sijaenda kwa Ruto. Ruto amekuja kwangu. Mimi nimesema mimi nibaki, msimamo yangu haijabadilika. Kitu muhimu zaidi mpaka zaliwe mpaka sasa mimi nakuwa napigania haki ya Wakenya yote. Uliona mwaka ile ingine sisi tulitoka yote, tulikuwa kwa barabara tukipigania Wakenya, kusema gharama ya maisha imepanda, tukasema fungulieni sava, tukasema mambo ya ufisadi imezidi, tukasema mambo ya ukabila imezidi. Tulisema haya yote mpaka baadaye tukaunda jopo kazi kinaitwa NADCO, wakaandika ripoti. Jamaa walikuwa na sheta, baadaye mwaka jana vijana wakajitokeza, Gen Z wakaingia kwa barabara, wakapiga chafua sana tena, wakapiga na hao watu, wakatuma polisi kwenda kupiga watoto na kuua watoto, wengi waliuawa. Hayo yote yakawa pale, wakaleta watu jeshi, wakatetemeka. Baadaye sasa wakalazimisha kuvunja serikali na kusema watashauriana kuunda serikali mpya. Lakini sisi tumesema maneno ambayo ziko swala nyeti zimebaki pale pale mpaka litatuliwe. Lakini haviwezi kutatuliwa kama watu hawajakuja pamoja kuongea, kuangalia vile mambo yatakuwa. Ndio sababu hao jamaa wakikuwa wameshikwa na baridi na wamekuja upande yetu, mimi nikasema tufanye mambo marekebisho haya yote. Mnaona yale tumeandika maneno 10 yote ni yale tumekuwa tunadai, na wakasema watatimiza. Sasa tumesema tunapatia hao fursa ya kufanya hayo ili yarekebishwe. Uchaguzi itakuja mwaka 2027, hapo wananchi wataamua wenyewe. Lakini kutoka hapa mpaka pale hatutaki wananchi wetu wazidi kuumia. Mambo matibabu iko na shida, hii mambo ya SHA haifanyi kazi mpaka irekebishwe. Si ndio irekebishwe, sivyo? Hii mambo ya ushuru ambayo wananchi wanatozwa ni juu sana, hata hii ya nyumba hizi mpaka irekebishwe, sio? Hawezi kurekebisha kama unakaa kando, mpaka uingie tale uambie fanya hii na hii na hii, na weka watu yako hapa na hapa wafanye. Ikifika pale, nyinyi mnajua yale ambayo yalifanyika mwaka ile nyingine, si mnajua yale yalifanyika? Si mliona wakati ile mambo ilikuwa ndio marama kule, si mnajua yale yalifanyika? Kwa sisi sasa hatuwezi kukaa tu kando namna hii ili nchi iende kazame. mpaka tufanye kazi, tuone kama tunaweza kuyarekebisha. Wakati ikifika 2027 Wakenya wataamua ni nani wanataka kuongoza, sivyo? Mimi nilikuwa nasema nataka kwenda kwa AU, nikasema nikichaguliwa kule sawa sawa, tukichaguliwa vilevile ni sawa sawa, maana tuko na nyumbani. Sababu amerudi nyumbani, simerudi nyumbani, si ndio? Sasa nataka nihame niende Bondo, nikae Bondo. Baba endelea, siendelee? Endelea, siendelee? Baba endelee, si ndio? Mimi nataka tumazuri kwa Wakenya wote.
Now, Raila Odinga understands well what exactly is going on. And the reason why he will struggle to make the explanation, and it's not going to be very easy to tone down the anger. That exercise of moving from one county to the other, allegedly making a consultation, people understood his game. People knew what was going on. So I hope when you're making consultations, you will not go representative. You will just call a rally in Kamkunji. Na bila story mingi, no speeches. Before any other thing happens, Raila ingie, aulize, tufanye na Ruto ama tusifanye na yeye. Just ask, just that. They would have actually got the verdict and get to ask people, what exactly is that? You do that in Kamkunji, you do that in Jacaranda, you go to Tononoka grounds in Mombasa, the areas where you normally do the rallies, you go and call another one in Mampoleo, go to Kakamega, go to Western, then go to Northeastern, and go to Kilifi. You will come back with the real feedback. Now, that speech signals something. Number one, Raila is struggling to explain. It is not me who went for Ruto, it is Ruto who came for me. Akasema Ruto aliingiwa na baridi. And in that context, he's trying to explain that the principal beneficiary of that pact is the president. Partly that is true. But what Raila cannot say in public is that what is seen as, what is trying to explain as what is trying to explain as Ruto benefiting also has personal fortunes on his side. I think at this point, let me play that soundbite of President Ruto saying, I want to ensure that you are respected in this country. You know what that statement meant? You know what that means?
For this nation. Immediately after the elections, several months after the elections, I called my brother and I told him, you have been my party leader. You have been my senior. Today, by God's grace, I'm president. I want you to be treated well. And I will do whatever it takes to make sure that you have respect in Kenya. And I am not doing this so that for any other reason that is selfish to me. I am doing this because I'm a younger person. You are an elder as far as I'm concerned, by age. And the contribution you have made to this Kenya deserves respect and deserves support.
What that means here is personal fortunes. Magari, security, VIP treatment, this and that, security. You know, that is the meaning of that conversation. So apart from it, but I strongly believe he deserves that. In terms of respect, he deserves. he has his very good space in the history of this country. He has a very good paragraph and a whole page, in fact, of a whole book, when the history of this country is written. So that is the first thing he also wanted to explain. Number two, Raila understands the issue of he's making a statement on those who joined government, of the members of the ODM party who joined the Ruto administration. He's trying to defend that decision because, remember, everything was very systematic, and that is why it is even too late to try to disassociate. The time the Mbadis were taken to cabinet, Raila was in Kibera, and he said, we donated experts. After the donation of experts, what followed next was Raila endorsed for AU. Then the country, we are told they've spent 500 and something million for Raila Odinga's campaigns. We don't know whether that is true, but that is what we've been told. Then Raila's AUC bid. That bid flops. Then he comes back and says, now I want to work with Ruto. You can see that everything was systematic, and I'm a bit... When I make my political projections or observations, when I make my political observations, whether Raila would win the AU or not, whatever happened in KCC was going to happen. In fact, I can tell you that the plan was if Raila would win that seat, he would come up immediately, resign as the party leader, then sit back and see Anyang' Nyong'o getting into, ODM party getting into a merger with the UDA. That was the script. But then it flopped. And immediately it flopped. That is why you saw people started ranting about, oh, those who celebrated and those who didn't celebrate, something around that. So he's trying to explain a bit of that. And I'm saying this. There is a lie that, I don't have to call it a lie, but it is a narrative that is not very true. We are going to, hii serikali iko na shida, SHA is not working, hata hiyo levy iko juu. So we will fix it when we are there. How? Let me tell you. The ODM members who joined cabinet, the Mbadis and the Johos and the Oparanyas, even though Oparanya is the most quiet of all, I have some analysis about Oparanya. It will come later. I think I've really been working around it. If you realize that team, all that, no one has a veto power over the other. For example, Ruto cannot wake up one day and say, we are stopping housing levy because of, we've agreed with Raila. It's not, we are reducing it. The level of policy, the policy influence of those who have joined government is very low. William Ruto is running it, and there is a level of rigidity that cannot even change. There's a context of this speech. 3 contexts. Number 1, it's coming a day after Kisii turned hostile. I did say here, I never analyzed the Kisii incident on Sunday because I was taking my rest. But I think I've done it in the other video that I did. Whatever happened in Kisii was a wake-up call. And I said, it will now be easy to heckle Raila. It will be fashionable. It will be attractive. If you look at the kind of impressions that mainstream media and the local blogs were running that story, the kind of numbers they pulled, you would understand that the country was very interested in that incident. You know, the country was very interested in, oh, Raila heckled. Raila must go. You know, the country was interested in that. And now, that is going to be the trend. And that is probably what Raila has realized. Why he's changing the tone. Number 2, the second context is he was talking in Mount Kenya. Kiambu is part of the larger Mount Kenya. You know, I've always believed that as much as people say that Ruto doesn't want to go to Mount Kenya because there've always been statement that Ruto doesn't want to go to Mount Kenya because of Rigathi, because of the Rigathi influence. But I'm a bit convinced that William Ruto himself will not want to go to Mount Kenya. It is just his personal decision also not to go there, even though there is hostility. Because, wait, do you think there are no funerals of close friends or friends of people in government he will attend? Not necessarily a church service. There are several other events that the president can attend there. But he chooses to keep off because he doesn't want to go there. He was also talking to a lean audience. That was a burial ceremony, so he needed to be that. Now, there is something Majimbo Kalasinga, this MP spoke about some few days ago about Raila, and he was warning William Ruto that wewe unakaa hapo na Raila atakuacha and will leave, come back to your space.
I'm very much happy with the chances. They reacted first thing, pop, in Kisii. You saw yesterday. Yes. Second day happened, pop, in the winner's chapel. You saw yesterday. Yes. Those are things that if you don't read the signs correctly. But my brother William Samuel Ruto, maybe you don't know Raila Odinga. We people for Kenya know him more. We were with him before. When things get worse, this man will run away from you. He will run away. Raila will run. I know him. He will run away from you. Because he's a man who is very cunning. He will want to stand with you when you have this type. You will give him the pampering you want, give him the security, survive with you. And I want to ask you a question. How did he finish with Moi? How did he finish with the Kibaki? The same way he will finish with us who are in Kenya Kwanza. It is very painful for one to fight Ababu Namwamba. And Namwamba was the best minister for sports. Yes. Kenya had started moving very fast. And then because he worked with us, he stood with us at Kenya Kwanza, you are now replacing him with one of us. That, okay, I've taken sports, but I've given you planning. One of us. Yes, who told you that if you have to give us Oparanya, you must remove Namwamba? Namwamba was the minister. I will have retained it. These are things that we cannot avoid to address. That's what
I partly agree with this, what that MP is saying. The probability of Raila sticking around with President Ruto and even saying Ruto Tosha in 2027 is not there. And I've always said that when you listen to, we do this because Raila have said, that kind of, that kind of politics is getting whitewashed in the country. That kind of politics is not gonna exist. And at the right time, it is too early. Even to think of Raila saying Ruto Tosha in 2027, it's too early. So many things are going to happen in the middle here. And you might end up with Raila Rigathi there, Kalonzo with Ruto there, and that. Politicians about the interest. If our interests converge, it doesn't matter what we said against each other in the past. But now, why is Raila now making a deliberate attempt, changing tone to disassociate with President Ruto? He has now to go and make this messaging. And there is a message he's sending out there. He's speaking in Kiambu, and he knows very well that even though he's speaking in Kiambu, the media is carrying that story and his statement and is going to amplify that message. There are things that are working against Raila, and that is why he's now changing the tone. Number one, even though there was an attempt to say that what we signed was not a coalition agreement, post-election coalition agreement, and what we signed was not, should not have a bearing on forming a coalition party for 2027, ODM lost the information war. And in fact, even the ODM supporters cannot get that thin line between what we signed as just some agreement with Ruto and not a Ruto endorsement. I want us to be very pragmatic here. When you go to the village, I think I was in the other side of Western. When you go to the village, what comes out is this, that Raila is now endorsing Ruto. If you look at Kisii, why is there heckling? Why are they heckling when Raila is talking? They're not heckling because they don't know. What they know is Raila saizi ana support Ruto. Just that. As to whether you don't mean that for 2027 or not, that's not the point. So they've lost the information war. I saw Sifunas trying to say, you know, I'm making this, I'm doing this I'm playing my constitutional role as the SG of the ODM party. And I said, yes, Mr. Sifuna, you're making very good explanation, but that is not for Wanjiku. That is for me and you who probably are following up on these matters keenly. But Wanjiku does not have that piece of, you know, I'm doing my constitutional role. If you would have walked out of that meeting, probably that Wanjiku would have picked. Now, the second thing is this. Ruto team are successfully portraying Raila deal as a 2027 endorsement. Successfully. When MPs attend president's event, what they speak, and remember, in that engagement of State House calling ODM MPs to go, these people get personal fortunes here, some few hundreds, some few coins here and there. And they're at the masses of the state. To that, they portray that deal as 2027 endorsement. Then Ruto is hijacking ODM that is looking divided. Babu is saying, I'm not boarding. Sifuna is boarding, the body and the spirit is not there. Khaleb Amisi is saying, we are not supposed to board this. So, things are not looking good, even for Odinga himself. And that is why I see him making that U-turn. Thank you.
We thank you so much for this effort. At least Shosho now have a smile on her face. She's going to sleep where there is door and window. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kevin, and your group. May God bless you.
Guys, this is where Dani, this is the house that I was showing you. This is the house Dani alikuwa anaishi. So ukiona hii nyumba, it was not even in a good place. So this is how it was. So we've moved her from this house to this one. So this is the house we just did. And yeah, so this is the one we did for Dani, and we've moved her to this house. Aliingia, if you check inside, already ameweka viti, and we've not even done the door. She said immediately this house was done, akasema yeye anaingia. We are planning to put the door today, but she's already there.
Okay, dear friends, this is the second house. As you can see, there is door, there is window. Now at least Mama can sleep in a warm place. Thank you so much, Kevin and your group, for supporting. Finally, this is the third house. As you can see, Mama and grandchildren are standing. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you so much for remembering this old woman. At least she now has a smile on her face. May God bless you people. We love you so much. Be blessed.